Welcome back to Good Enough Garage. On this episode, on the last episode, you watched me literally whittle out of a single piece of metal this bell housing plate. So why did I do that if I already had one made out of aluminum? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. And in all fairness, this plate comes to me compliments of the design of our friend, an open inverter, Gigas. So I paid $300 to a steel mom and pop shop here in Sacramento to have this surgically cut out for me. And I am so grateful to Gigas for offering the plants on open inverter so that we can have these types of parts made for our EV conversions. This is absolutely brilliant. So why did I pay money for this plate if I already had one? Well, my plate didn't have to be precise when I first made it. It really served two purposes. One mainly, it just kept the dust out of the transmission, if you will. It was like a dust cover, maybe a glorified dust cover. Yes, it also reinforced the bell housing. So having said that, my holes, as much as I tried to be accurate, I stood up the transmission on the floor on this aluminum plate and I tried to trace out and hole punch, if you will, on center of these holes. They're kind of difficult to get at from the back of the transmission. And I'm not really good at using calipers and measuring. So I did the best I could, and this is fairly accurate. So think of this plate as a expensive template, okay? I'm not going to use a steel plate for a couple reasons. One, it is heavy. Two, this is only 1/4 inch, whereas my plate is 1/2 inch aluminum, okay? And it makes a difference. I don't have any way of adjusting the brackets, the holes I already drilled in the frame and so on. And I don't want to put any type of spacers. The way my system is mounted, I need a 1/2 inch plate in front of that transmission and in between the transmission cross member that I made. So this will only serve as a template. I plan on overlaying this plate over my plate, seeing how accurate my holes are, seeing if I missed any holes, and also maybe enlarging some of mine or adjusting if there's any error. So that is what we're going to be doing in this video to start. So folks, I realize that the odds of somebody actually doing a conversion using this Lexus transmission is very rare and coming across my videos, but just for the matter of public record, I want to get into some details of the design and of this plate. Maybe it will help somebody out. Some of you can just use this as entertainment and have a good laugh. Anyway, I want to talk about hardware because I decided to switch from American bolts to metric bolts. So from what we call standard to metric. And the reason being that the 7/16 hardware that I was using gave me a little bit of wiggle room, and it was sort of the best fit, but it wasn't quite snug, okay? I know you can't see from far away, but this is a bit loose. And when I use my caliper here, and I'll try not to embarrass myself, I'm a European displaced in America, and so I suck at both systems, metric and standard, and I know metric is completely easy. So this appears to me like the thickness of this bolt is 8 millimeters. Okay, and this is the American one, but I'm reporting it to you in metric. This caliper drives me bananas because top of it is standard or in inches and the bottom scale is metric, but the top scale is like a machinist scale. So this is in decimals of an inch. So if you thought struggling with your 3/8, 7/16, 9/16 is madness, try converting inches to decimals. You'll go bananas. So anyway, these bolts appear to be 8 millimeters thick on the shafts. And if I measure the metric ones, and I wish I paid attention to what these were. I know that these were coarse thread, at least, not fine thread, but I forget. It says 8.8. So these measure millimeters in thickness. So these fit much snugger. And why I think this is important is because I hope that will help me perfectly center this plate on the input shaft, so then I can lock it out. So I will be changing to the metric bolts. And then the other thing I want to show you are these pins I got to further help align it when mounting it. Okay, so here I'm going to try to show you again the difference between, see, this is, right now, this is the American bolt standard. And then here's the metric one. How's that for science, everybody? So maybe I'm making a mistake. Maybe I need that wiggability, but I'm going to try to go for snugness. Okay, in addition to changing the hardware from standard to metric, I also bought these 3/8 tension pins, as they are called. And I call them sort of dowels, but they will go in to some of the smaller holes. I was hoping that this plate would have at least 3 of them that I could use, and I think it turns out that there's only 2 that align. I'm not sure which ones those are. I will go under the truck and I'll show you, but I wish that maybe we could have achieved something more triangulated. Though when I test fitted this, 2 of these pins were enough to get it perfectly aligned. So just giving you some feedback. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I love zip ties. They are super handy. As you can see, we're going to use them to, we're going to use these to establish our dominance here and get some of this junk out of the way. Why can't I do this on camera? It appears as if I never used a zip tie before. Can I get through here? I hope that's better. Okay, so we have a little bit more seeability now. I'm going to crawl underneath the truck, and with this screwdriver and this green Sharpie, I'll outline the holes that are blind, meaning they don't go all the way through, where I think those tension pins can go. Okay, so these are the tension pins I'm talking about. And for instance, this here is just for the pin that doesn't go all the way through. This here as well. See, that's a small hole, but it goes all the way through. There's one here. And this one here. It's interesting. That goes. Okay, so this is what I was sort of thinking about in terms of triangulation. That if we had these 3, now I'm going to bring the plate here, and I think only 2 of these have a hole in our plate. This one does not. So there was really only 4, if you can see that, okay? I hope that helps, but if you're thinking of making your own plate, then these dowel pins could be really handy for perfect alignment. Let me bring the plate in here and see if we can put it on now. And again, I want to say that I am very grateful for the work that this gentleman did for us. I am not complaining or nitpicking. I am just trying to provide some feedback. Okay, so here, and this plate, it cannot be reversed this way, okay? It's not symmetrical like that. So let's see if we can get it on there. So this right here is a pin, and that one is there. So there's a pin missing right here. Do you see how that fit? Now let's see if we can get a third one in there. I think there was a third one in here somewhere. I forgot which one it was. Okay, it's in between those. Let's see if there is one. Yeah, I think this one is not drilled. See that? We didn't get that one. So yeah, I was right. Only 2 of them were provided. This one is not there. I'm going to sort of mark it here that one isn't there. Same thing for this one here. Oh, how can I do this? That is really wild. Okay, so that one, the other one is approximately here. So these 2 right here are not available to us. I know I'm really geeking out here, but when you're making this, you may appreciate it. Okay, so these are the only 2 we can use. Okay, but it's a beautiful, beautiful fit now. I'm gonna throw in some bolts. Show you how those go in. Actually, I'm gonna highlight these so I know which ones are the good ones. So these are the pins. The greens are gonna be our pins. We're gonna use our hardware here. These may be 55 millimeter long. I have to double check. This hole here, you need a longer bolt, I think, for that one. There's got a really thick back. All right, I'm not gonna use washers to start here. So on my On my application, I think the transmission cross member will go through these two and these two down here. Speaking of these two down here, these holes are too small. I don't think I have any more bolts. That's why I'm just jumping with this one all the way around here. This hole is smaller. These four holes are for mounting brackets. They don't really have a backing of the bell housing, so I think these were made if you want to mount it. These holes I'm gonna have to enlarge. Okay. So these right here, enlarge. I need to enlarge this one as well. That one needs to be enlarged too. And you guys will see later why we have an opening in here. Okay. How's that for excitement? Okay, I think that's the last one that had to be enlarged. I'm happy with that. I'm going to bring you underneath this drill press so you can see why I look like I struggle when I put the C-clamp on, like I look like I've never mounted a C-clamp before. I want you to see what's underneath here. Okay, I hope you guys can make out how this is uneven. See how if I land on this spot, I need to adjust the C-clamp, open it up more, or here, or here. But then when I'm hitting this valley, that's where I'm holding it down, the drill press with my chin and trying to screw it in more or unscrew it. So yeah, that's what I was showing you. It's not a flat plate underneath here for some reason. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. All right, guys, so at this point, before overlaying this plate with my aluminum, I'm going to put this up against the bell housing one more time just to make sure now everything aligns. I really should smooth these out. I think I'm going to do that next. Wax on. Let's throw this back on the truck. See how we do. So these are our guide pins. We only have 2 of them. Oh. Okay. We're going to go with the 3 Musketeers on top. All right. Now we drilled these bottom 2. And look at that. Now the bolts that will hold this to the transmission bracket go through. Happy with that. And I think it's these two as well. But these two can be the bigger ones. I'm sorry I don't have enough bolts, but those are bigger for some reason. And I think this one's good. That's a smaller one. I'm not sure if I can do this one with my brace that goes across, but I'll just leave it. Perfect. So those. I'm also not sure about this one if my brace goes across there, but now I'm very happy with that. So this is going to work just fine now. This is nicely aligned. Now I'm going to overlay this plate over my aluminum plate and make sure all the holes are good. And that should be a stopping point for tonight. Okay guys, so now the plan is to put the template over mine and see how many holes align, okay? And how well they align here. I'm going to be shoving some metric bolts through here for a snugger fit, and then some standard ones, okay? So I'm going to go from the back here. Basically, this is what we're doing. This is the excitement of this phase. And I get all these through. See, like I'm struggling with that one there. That one there doesn't want to go through. This is a pin. This is kind of a game. Like I need to see what's the most holes I can align. Right now, I don't think I can put these through. So one of these bolts here may be off. It's kind of tedious, kind of dumb what I'm doing, but maybe even this guy, wow. I can't, this is making me look bad. Okay, so changing my approach here a little bit. I know these two holes should be good. Or do I? See, they're not quite happy, or are they? Okay, they're good. Forgot if this was a big bolt here or not. Like I said, I knew my stuff wasn't that greatly precisely made. That one goes through. It's already not that happy here. It's pretty tight. So that's the idea. I may spare you the gory details of it as I try to align more of these holes. Bolts, I should say. Yeah, let me keep playing with it, but this is the idea. I'm going to try to see if I can anchor as many of these bolts through here as possible and then drill out the rest to make them all fit. Okay, dudes, I'm gonna show you the difference between theoretical drill press drilling and practical or real life, okay? So what we got here is a crazy shaped object on the drill press, and I'm just explaining myself so that you understand why I do such shitty work. Anyway, I try to clamp this down, and there's bolt heads underneath here. Sometimes it gets wonky this way, that way. The best thing for me to do is just kind of hold it while drilling, hope and pray for the best, right? So I sort of get myself A-lined like this, turn on the drill press, and do the best I can, really. Just go slow, use my hip against it, just nice and slow. I'm going into aluminum, soft aluminum, guys, so that's why I'm willing to risk it. No risk it, no biscuit. All right. I'm not usually this anal. I don't vacuum in between every single hole I drill. I'm doing it right now because I don't want metal shavings on this garage floor. First project. Garage is fairly clean type of deal. Okay, I have to show you this because some idiot decided to shrink wrap this rat tail file. It is absolutely ridiculous. This is completely shrink wrapped, as tight as you can get it. And I tried to cut it lengthwise. This is unbelievable. I'm going to spend 4 hours taking the wrap file out of its shrink wrap. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Lowe's. I knew Home Depot was better. And that's not saying much. Oh my goodness. It's absurd. Like, I don't think you guys can even see this, but it is absolutely absurd. It's coming out in tiny little blotches. And Jamie's wondering why I haven't locked out the input shaft yet. Well, I'm taking the shrink wrap off my rat tail file still. Oh my goodness. At least this file has a handle on it. I don't know what's up with files, but it's like the tool you buy in America and it has no handle on it. What an epic fail, Lowe's. Okay, there. Hope you enjoy that. Okay, guys, so I'm bringing along for the drilling of the holes for the two tension pins. Again, I wish there was 3 of them. I already drilled one here, and now I'm going to drill one on this end. And I wish there was a third one somewhere in here, but 2 is better than nothing. So here we go. Again, we're using wood because it's just seems to be the best thing for the job at the minute. I think it's this one. All right, let's hope. Sorry, my hand's in the way, but I don't want to move. I don't want to mess this one up. So here I just want to demonstrate how they all will now go through just the way I want it. These four are a little bit narrower holes, and that's by design. I think maybe so is this one. These here are the large ones. Again, I don't have enough of these new bolts, so I'm going to borrow some spares that I have from some project. I just want to prove to myself that they all now nicely fit. If they're fighting me just because this plate is heavy and it's at an angle here, but trust me, these guys go in there very smoothly now. Okay, I am pretty happy with all this. Okay, and even these pins will go in now. So there's one here. I don't know why that's actually fighting me a little bit. I'm gonna have to maybe file these down. I really don't want to do that. Maybe they're just going to be snug. Well, pretty happy with this so far.